Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the first ever episode of the Voices for Blogging podcast, where we have faces for radio and voices for blogging. Here in Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm Steve Lee, and hosting us alongside of me in Los Angeles, California is my old friend Royce Hamano. Our podcast, like most podcasts these days, covers just about anything and how we view it through the multiple lenses that essentially represents who we are and what we believe. Because of our backgrounds, we're going to talk healthcare, technology, sports, culinary arts, our ethnic culture, entrepreneurship, cryptocurrency and investing, and finally, what may be our most favorite pastime, gambling. In the end, we hope to entertain and inform, but really, we just hope you listen to our entire episode and come back for more. And with that, I'd like to bring in my fellow Hawaii born and raised, University of Puget Sound alum, Royce Hamano. Hey, Royce, how you doing?
Doing good, man. That sounded so professional.
Yeah, especially for people that don't have any clue what we're doing, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking to entertain, but myself.
Same here.
However works out.
If this ends up just being a sounding board for us to talk about bets we want to put in every weekend for every game we want to play during this NFL season, I guess that's what it becomes.
DGen podcast.
I mean, we've been talking about doing something like this for years. I feel like dating back to, God, over 10 years ago, we were talking about maybe doing a blog where we talked about sports, gambling, and everything else, that we're interested in.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
That was before blogging really became super popular too.
We should have done that, dude. We could have sold by now for probably like to ESPN for like millions of dollars.
Yeah, I don't know if we're as interesting as Bill Simmons at least thinks he is anyway.
Or as talented as like Amina Kimes or something, but close enough.
Yeah, we're definitely not as easy to look at as she is either, so that doesn't hurt.
No,
that doesn't help us at all.
That's why you can't see us.
Although we do think we're gonna do some things on a YouTube channel one day.
One day,
yeah, we'll see. We gotta kind of hit our picks a little bit, and it'll be kind of the DGen channel a little bit for us to. You can watch us while we're gambling on sports betting.
Yeah. My pick has already failed on that today already.
We did okay. I mean, our first 3 picks we put on that we posted on our Instagram page. I mean, we hit 2 out of 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, let me explain my gambling philosophy, right? It's always risk reward. So as long as those bets are somewhat close in the end, and there's a chance that the reward could be pretty good. Like I'm always looking for something that's better than, just paying the juice.
Just doing a minus 110, which for our audience, that means we have to put down $110 down to win 100.
Right.
Now in the gambling world, in that gambling world, that sounds terrible. However, in any other part of life, when we talk about investments, if I were to invest my $110 and I would walk away with $200, people would think that's a hell of a sound investment.
Yeah.
But in the gambling world, it's not.
And that's why I used to do $1,000 14 parlays.
And for those who don't know what the payout on that is, it's 10-1.
Yeah. The odds are not in your favor.
Oh. I mean, on that note, I guess we might as well just talk about what happened today in the NFL and our 3 picks, right? We had your pick, which was the Indianapolis Colts on the money line, and which that payout was, minus 110, which is payout 110 to try to win 100. What were you thinking with those picks?
So with that pick, I felt that it was going to be a competitive game. The Colts defense is actually pretty decent. They've only been giving it up. They have one of the better points against in the NFL. And
it also helps that your last start was against Sam Darnold. Sorry, LA people.
But the Browns, I mean, they've been scoring a lot of points, but they haven't really been playing that great defenses. So I thought that as long as it was close, there's a chance in the end for the Colts to actually win outright, and they were close.
They had their chances.
They had the chances.
I mean, people in LA and Southern California are very familiar with Philip Rivers, and he definitely had a few Philip Rivers moments.
For better or worse.
It pretty much was demise of the Colts today, really, when it's all said and done. But all in all, I thought that was a solid pick. You know, I think when you look at two teams that you're wondering if they're for real going into this game, I would definitely have said the Colts have a better chance of being real than the Browns, because the Browns' track record over so many years at this point has been that no matter, even if they do well, it always turns out to be a mirage. You know, it doesn't kind of pan out in the long run. But I think with this win, I think it legitimizes them a little bit. I think bringing in the Vikings' former offensive coordinator and he bringing the run-first type of offense with the talent they have, this Browns team with the talent on defense has a chance to make some noise.
Yeah, they do. They're going to be pretty good this year. I mean, they have Kareem Hunt, right? The running back too. They're pretty solid.
I mean that and that was their second string running back. I mean, their first string, who by the way is on my fantasy team, and you know that really hurt my team today that he's on IR. They're so talented. I mean, he was averaging, I believe, at some point in time over 5 yards a carry for a while. You know, that offense can definitely move the ball on the ground, and it makes Mayfield's job easier as long as he can stay accurate, which you saw today he had some issues with.
I mean, they have a good offense. They have a lot of pieces. Obviously, a wide receiver, running back is solid. Mm-hmm. I think Mayfield's pretty good. He can make all the throws. Yeah, their defense has always been pretty solid too. It's just that they haven't been able to put it together.
I mean, they're talented on the defense, right? It's whether or not they can play solid defense for the whole season. And this would be the year they get challenged, right? I mean, you have two quality opponents in their division, and we'll kind of see how that goes. I mean, the Bengals gave them a run for their money for a while in that Thursday night game.
Yeah, but you want to talk about Nick Chubb being a running back? Guess who my fantasy quarterback is?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Unfortunate to see what happened to him.
Oh, that looked ugly. That was like a Gordon Hayward.
It's very similar. It's also very similar to Paul George when he landed on the standard basketball standard.
Did he break his ankle? I didn't see. I didn't hear.
He is in surgery right now.
Surgery, right?
Yeah. So typically when you dislocate your ankle, especially in a traumatic fashion like this, you're probably going to get some kind of fracture associated with it. The early reports were that the fracture was a compound fracture, an open fracture, in other words. So it came through the skin. So it's a long road ahead. And for those who don't know, as you guys get to know us, you'll kind of get to know what we do and what our professions are. I'm a certified athletic trainer. So a lot of times on the show, we're going to talk about injuries that come up in sports. And, you know, I'll probably give a little bit of my 2 cents on what I know about it from my experience working with everything from amateur to professional athletes. And it's funny, athletic trainers, they might come across a little desensitized or insensitive sometimes when we're watching sports and see injuries. Because a lot of times when someone gets hurt, where a lot of the general public will have this reaction of like, ooh, like, oh, I feel so bad for the guy and this and that. And it's not that we don't, but what we probably want to see more is the replay over and over and over again, because it's just what we do. We watching these injuries happen is what we do. It fascinates us. And part of it, I think, is that it's in our memory bank. So when we see it, when we're at work, we can kind of start to anticipate what's going on. And we can talk about what are some of the common ways people hurt certain things. But yeah, back to Dak, like Jerry Jones, you know, didn't want to pay him this offseason. Just didn't want to pay him the top dollar. And in that sense, he'll probably never admit it, but the businessman in him is happy he didn't.
Yeah, that's messed up.
That's messed up, but it's the reality of the game, right? This is the risk he took by not signing the deal they offered him, which was about $5 million, I believe, year below what Mahomes signed for, which seems about right, though.
Yeah, Dak wanted more, right?
Yeah. Seems appropriate that's what he would have got.
I mean, you could argue, I guess.
I mean, with the talent he has around him, numbers are one thing, but those big numbers don't equal big wins.
Yeah, no, he's not a
They didn't
quarterback.
make the playoff. They didn't make the playoffs last year.
He's not a quarterback that's gonna throw people open, right? I think that's one of the biggest things. Like Aaron Rodgers, he'll make you open.
I mean, Rogers just a different quarterback. We're talking about a different level or echelon of quarterback.
Brady, he'll throw you
Right.
open. Holmes will
Correct.
throw you open.
Right.
Guys like Trubisky, you
Correct.
gotta be wide open.
By the way, Royce is a Bears fan, so if you ever hear him lamenting about the Bears, that's why. Because there's really nothing else to do as a Bears fan other than lament about how
No, there
bad it's
isn't.
been.
Yeah, there isn't. It's been long since
Hey, did you
like
see Cody
'86.
Parkey doink one in today?
I saw him kicking. I turned away from the TV.
Yeah, he hit a goalpost again, but it actually went through this time.
Not that I not that I blame him for that. Just the way it is.
I mean, he could have kicked it 1 foot over to the right and would have been fine.
I've been conditioned to expect things like that.
Yeah, that's the sad part. That's like one of my friends who's a Raiders fan, and all he can do is wait for them to implode. They just beat the Super Bowl champs. They just beat one of the most, one of the most entertaining and at times dominating teams we've seen, in the last year and a half or so. But all he could say was, "I can't wait for this team for its bad coaching and lack of talent to show and implode the franchise." I'm like,
Wow,
that's a
it looks
that's
good.
a that's a very
It looks
negative.
good though.
I'm like, I have a hard time thinking that there's a lack of talent and bad coaching when you put up almost 400 yards passing against Casey, and you close the game out with your first round draft pick running back, Josh Jacobs, who's very talented. So
Yeah,
I just feel like that's just a little kind of a pessimism that comes from being a Raiders fan. Um,
yeah. I mean,
the payoff to be a Raiders fan has been just as good as the payoff to be a Bears fan in the last
uh,
30 years.
no. I mean, maybe. I mean,
It
they
is.
did
It's about the same.
went to the Super Bowl, right? I guess
They both went
Bears went to the
once
Super Bowl
since the
too.
last time they won, and they both lost in that one. They both went to Super Bowl in the mid 80s. So yeah, it's about the same,
Yeah, I guess so. They did win
right?
too, right?
Right.
They won with Plunkett.
They won against the Redskins, where Marcus Allen just ran all over them. And then the Bears, of course, won in '85. Now, those Super Bowls were 2 years apart, and since then, neither team has won a
Um,
Super Bowl.
I think I have them on the Betamax. Now you're dating yourself.
Well, I mean, you're dating
I,
yourself. I didn't say it, not me. Yeah, it wasn't me. It was you. But all in all, today was a pretty great day in the league. I mean, it was fun. It's been kind of fun, entertaining football because offense is kind of taking over. That's why when I picked the Steelers on the over today with at 44 and a half points, I didn't understand it because I figured with the Steelers playing the Eagles, Carson Wentz was going to throw a touchdown to somebody, whether it's the Steelers or the Eagles, one or the other. And Big Ben, lets it rip. So 44 and a half just seemed like a ridiculous over underline and so I took it. I took the over.
that was a good one. The one thing that concerned me about that game is that Steelers defense is not bad, but it's not that great against the pass.
It isn't, and at the same time, as hard as this is to say, because I own, I shouldn't say I owned. I had Carson Wentz as my starting quarterback in my fantasy league for the first couple weeks of the season. Needless to say, he's not on my team anymore. But in the last couple weeks, he's been playing better.
He has been actually. I've noticed that too.
Right. And so, not good enough for me to really worry that he's not on my team anymore, but good enough where I was like, I think they might be good for about 20 points. They almost scored 30,
Yeah,
you know?
that was good
Uh,
enough.
Good, like for me, I thought the Steelers were going to put 30 up this game. So when you put the 30 to 20, I'm like 44 and a half. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm just kind of glad that worked out. The last pick I had today, which was mine again, was the Texans -5 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The
Gardner
way
Minshew.
Gardner Minshew, and the way this week went for the Texans, it just sounded like the players they just needed a change in voice, a change of direction. It sounded like O'Brien's voice and leadership just got a little too old, and it probably fell on deaf ears there at this point. And they have so much talent on the team. I just couldn't see them being at home, falling to 0-5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who has been declining every single week since they came out pretty strong to start the season under Minshew.
Yeah, it seems like he's a pretty good quarterback, actually.
You know, he's
But
a little feisty quarterback. You know, when you watch that game, right? Like I was watching it on my Sunday ticket, and yeah, about third quarter, the body language of the Jaguars. You know, this body language, like here we go again. God, we're gonna lose again, and this and that, and this and that. It was just, it's gonna take a lot to turn that ship around down there, down in Jacksonville. It seems. So
it's
I
gonna
mean,
be
you talk about
tough.
a team that, yeah, I mean, with the Texans, you talk about a team that's a perennial playoff team, and I just couldn't see them going 0-5. They were running they were running the ball decently well. For whatever reason, Deshaun Watson looked a little more poised today. Sometimes took less risk, and in his case, it's probably a good thing because under O'Brien, he was definitely very much, you know, just kind of put it out there and, you know, be a pick or a touchdown, or he'd hold the ball too long and he'd get crushed all game long. You know, it's hard to watch a talented young quarterback like that get hit so much because, you know, you're seeing his career get shortened right before your very eyes.
So if you wanted to bet on the 0-4 Texans, what made you stay away from the 0-4 Falcons?
Whoa, where do you start with that? You know, for the Texans, at least they weren't blowing these monstrous leads. And you
Going all
got
the way back to Super Bowl, like
and you
whatever.
and you know on that thing I said about the Jaguars where they had this body language of, oh boy, not again.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what the Falcons are experiencing. Were experiencing. I think when they gave up those big leads, especially to the Cowboys. You know, and it's kind of like, so that was history repeating from the week before. I think at that point in time, man, psychologically, I mean, I really feel like you got to kind of clean house in Atlanta. It's not just about Dan Quinn. At some point in time, I think there's going to have to be an exchange of the players and just bring in new blood and fresh blood to kind of come in and work with the new young talent and move forward from here. You know,
right.
it's one of those things where defensively the Falcons have always struggled. And it's the funniest thing because, you know, Dan Quinn came over as a defensive coach. But really dating back to even their Super Bowl years, that Super Bowl year, I should say,
Super Bowl
it's not
51.
like, yeah, it's not like their Super Bowl, their defense was at such a high caliber. Obviously, they gave up a 28-3 lead. You know, there have been holes in this defense from the very beginning. And yeah, we can say injuries, and yeah, we can say this, we can say that, you know, and all that can be true. But look at a team like the Seahawks right now. They're virtually a no-name defense. Jamal Adams isn't playing.
He's not playing, but they got KJ Wright. They
Okay,
still have their guys, like core guys, right?
outside of us that have lived in Seattle, so we naturally follow Seattle a little bit. A
I
lot of
don't follow
people wouldn't know. Well, you're around a team that they're in the division, so you're gonna know KJ Wright. But if
Yeah,
I could ask people that are fans of other teams, they don't know who KJ Wright is. They don't even know who Bobby Wagner is half the time, and that guy's an all-pro middle
yeah,
linebacker,
they have to know who Bobby Wagner is.
right?
Legion of
Uh,
Boom, man. Those are the guys that are on the left.
they're not even a Legion of Boom, really. You know, Legion of Boom really more had to do with the defensive backs, and none of them are there. You know, and so, but look at the defense they're playing with now. They're definitely playing a brand of bend, and hopefully I don't break it often enough where I can lose the game because Russell Wilson's got to put up 30 points a game for
Their
us.
offense is so ridiculous now. They're
Right.
just all Russell Wilson.
They flipped the narrative. They're just going to rely on that offense, and hopefully the defense can pull one or two big plays, and hopefully pull it out. So far,
That
so
guy,
good.
so far so good, man. That guy is amazing.
He has 19 touchdowns in the first 5 games of the season.
That guy is ridiculous.
There's only
Like,
one player that threw more touchdowns through 5 games, Peyton Manning, 20. Like that's the kind of season we're watching for Russell Wilson right now.
and
This is going to be a record-breaking season.
he could never run as much as Russell Wilson. That's for sure.
You talking about Peyton Manning?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he could never the threat like that.
no, absolutely not. You know,
But
look at the talent on offense though for the Seahawks, right?
fair,
They
though.
don't pay them. They don't have to
Yeah.
pay any of them yet.
To be fair, though, I don't think Russell Wilson is the comedian that Peyton Manning is.
Yeah, yeah. Russell might have a
He's
little
not there
different.
yet.
Well, he might have a little different of how should I say directive when he's out there anyway. But it's fun to watch, man. I mean, a lot of stuff going on in the NFL is fun to watch. It's fun to watch the Raiders just be competitive week in, week out, even in the weeks they lose.
I'm gonna tell you something. When teams move to Vegas, they become championship contenders. The Knights,
The Aces.
I like the Raiders. Aces, right?
Something said about having the community behind you. And Vegas has been starving for sports franchises forever. And now that a lot of the stink of gambling has been kind of put aside for sports, and now that sports gambling is necessary for the survival of sports in many, many ways, like the popularity of football has a lot to do with fantasy and sports betting. And without those two things, how many people aren't watching NFL football anymore? I got students that I train and teach that they have all these fantasy teams. They don't know what they're doing. I'm setting their lineup for them every week, but they're watching the game.
Whoa! That sounds illegal.
They're smoking it too. Let me tell you.
Are you sure about that?
They're smoking it. As long as I can get them to beat their boyfriends when they go up against their boyfriends, that's the best part.
Oh no! Oh, nobody's listening.
It's okay. Remember, audience of two, me and you.
Don't worry, nobody is.
Well, it's at least at this moment as we record all this. But I mean, I said really, really interesting week of games. The Giants tried to make it look like they wanted to win. That's always entertaining for me as a Giants fan.
I missed the end of that game. Like, what happened? Did they lost?
Yeah, they lost. The Red Rifle got the Cowboys into field goal range and won game. Andy Dalton back in Texas, back in Fort Worth, going to try to lead the Cowboys.
Is that who the backup is?
Yeah, they're not really. And this is no disrespect to Dak. I don't know how much they're going to lose out with Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback with all this talent around him.
I don't think they're going to lose much.
I don't think so.
I was wondering who the backup was.
If you take the Falcons game out of it, and let's say the Cowboys lose that Falcons game like they probably should have, if not for the Falcons, Dak Prescott is 8-12 in his last 20 games.
Wow.
That's not very good. They were 8-8, I believe, to end last year. Maybe 7-9. And if they're 7-9, then they're 7-13 in his last 20 games. Like, that says a lot. I mean, the stats for fantasy are fantastic, but a lot of those stats are him trying to claw and come back from behind.
Really all that matters.
For most people, yeah.
It's all I care about.
Or when you gamble.
Yeah, or when I gamble.
Right. But good guy, stand-up dude, playing well the last few years, gambled on himself. It's just too bad to see him kind of go down like that today.
Yeah. So there were other sports that happened today. Lakers.
Wow. Didn't we just crown a new world champion in the NBA?
There were a lot of fireworks going on in LA today.
No riots though today, right?
I cannot answer that definitively. I mean, there was a celebration apparently downtown. It was on the news. I don't know what happened.
I mean, what I do know is J.R. Smith somehow lost his shirt again in the celebration on the court.
I heard about that too.
I mean, the Lakers have two of the greatest hype men on their team right now. Between J.R. Smith and Quinn Cook, I mean, these guys probably played a total of 2 minutes maybe in the NBA Finals. Yeah. Maybe 3. But they've definitely made sure they're on camera every time they got a chance to get on camera.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, LeBron needs his groupies, right? There's no doubt about that. No, man, the Lakers, it's that two-man show really started to come together in the finals. Actually, probably started to come together in that series with the Rockets. You kind of started to see moments where AD was kind of figuring out the playoffs and learning how to win and learning how to take over games, which it seemed like LeBron was totally fine with him if he wanted to take the game over.
Yeah, well, he had the advantage, I think, every time at least the last 2 series, too. I forget who they played in the first round, but he had, I think it was Portland, right? He had the advantage.
No one can match up. No matchup.
Yeah, the last 2 series, for sure.
Right.
And he took advantage of it. And that's what he should do.
right? You know, and the timing is great, right? I mean, with the passing of Kobe, and for the Lakers to kind of come back this year, make the bold move, make the big trade, and really the team is incomplete still. They probably add another piece next year.
They could. I mean, they definitely had better fit as far as players this year than they did last year.
For sure, for sure. I mean, of course I'm gonna talk about Caruso. I love the dude, man. He just does the little things, and if he takes it to the rack, he's gonna make the basket. If not, he's gonna make the pass. He's gonna D up. You know, he just kind of does all the little things that you need a role player to do. You know, KCP just stepped up like this.
yep.
Where did this come from? Where did this come from? Like, did you see this coming?
I mean, he's always been pretty solid, I guess. He's one of those
But
just solid role
but the
players.
last two games, that's more than just solid role player.
Oh, yeah,
What he was doing.
he had a hot hand for sure.
Yeah, and showed up on D. Then there was always playoff Rondo. Playoff Rondo showed up.
Yeah, he was killing it today. He was killing it
Playoff
today.
Rondo showed up. I mean, the energy of the energy,
He was
yeah, the
getting to the
energy,
hole and making layups and then hitting threes. I mean,
right? I mean, it almost felt like the Heat were so flat to start the day, and you know, at some point you could understand that they had to fight and claw so much just to be in this position. It had to feel like they ran out of gas. That's what it looked like. That's what it felt like watching him in the first half.
they ran out of gas. I would have loved to seen the series if Dragic could have stayed healthy. And
Hmm. Yeah. So I mean, and Adebayo, I mean, I think in the beginning of the game you saw the Heat playing so below the rim basketball, especially Adebayo. You know, those are the moments you're like, huh, like something just didn't feel right when he started the game today. And then
yeah,
before you knew it,
it was just
they're
soft.
down they're down 30 before halftime, just down 30.
Yeah, and it was over.
It was over. A little valiant effort at the end of the game to make it look close. I think I told you before the game started, I thought this game was going to be a 10 plus point win for the Lakers. I kind of laid down the bet. I just didn't want to put it down. It was a 6 point spread, which you thought was pretty high, which in many
You
ways
should
made
have.
me feel good. I mean, when you said you thought the 6 was high, that was the moment I was like, wow, I really should put the bet in. Like, because I kind of don't feel like that's high, because I feel like this was going to be the capitulation game for the Lakers where they just got this done.
Yeah,
Um,
it would. I was thinking basically that the last couple games actually, AD has looked like he's kind of been hurt, and
right.
if he's hurt and can't take advantage of his advantages that he has at his position, then it makes it a more competitive game for the Heat. But obviously, he seemed like he was a lot better this game,
No,
and
I mean, you're
that
right.
Rondo his shots.
No, you're right. I mean, I remember I was telling you about the bet. It's like I probably would rather feel more comfortable putting a live bet in after about a few minutes of the game, just to see what Dragic had left, to see
Yeah,
how healthy AD was. Because from my point of view, in the last game in Game Five, that didn't look good to see AD hobbling around the way he was hobbling around.
yeah,
You know, it looked bad.
that's part of it, dude. I don't know if people remember though that when LeBron lost in 2015, I think both Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt in the finals,
Yep.
and he willed them to like I think 2 wins single-handedly.
And and that's what I was betting on today. That LeBron just wasn't gonna let it happen. Like he was just gonna force this. You know, the dude had a triple double essentially by the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing Miami could do. I mean, without a bio back, Dragic
Mm-hmm.
just won the game, obviously,
You know, Jimmy Butler being their best on ball defender, tired,
and
pulled
their
out.
best player.
Yeah, so pulling out two triple doubles in their wins, like he's tired. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the Heat does in the offseason. Like, imagine if they somehow pull off a way to get Giannis down there. Is that the right fit for them? Who knows, right? Um,
Yeah, I don't know, but they need one other guy that can create offense and score.
right. And,
Um,
and as
I
do
like
the Lakers.
that too. Yeah, the Lakers could get another.
They need another one. You know, LeBron. This was a long season, And LeBron's, they're gonna start camp in a month and a half.
I know.
And it's gonna be a shortened season again. And these guys aren't gonna get the break they need. They have to recover first before they can train to get ready for the next season. The recovery period's gonna be about a month. That only gives them a few weeks to get ready for camp. So it's gonna be a tough turnaround for the Lakers next year, and that's why they need to bring in some fresh legs, some fresh talent. I just don't know what they're gonna have to do to get there. It'd have to be a free agent. In which case, who's available? Just Giannis?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are the following year. I'm not sure I want Paul George on my team when he doesn't think it was a do or die situation when you're in the playoffs.
Anthony Davis is a free agent.
Anthony Davis is. I mean, that would be the biggest middle finger, I guess, to LeBron. If now that he won, he just goes to Miami, or
Right,
goes to
yeah,
or goes to Brooklyn and goes and plays with KD
so here's
and Kyrie.
It could happen, but so here's a list of
Okay, go ahead.
supposedly the best players available. This is some sporting news.
Got it.
Anthony Davis, Brandon Ingram, DeMar DeRozan, Ed Van Fleet, Montrezl Harrell, Gordon Hayward, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Goran Dragic, Davis Bertans, and Danilo Gallinari.
Gallinari would be interesting.
Offensively, yeah. Defensively,
no, but you might be able to sign some lower end free agent to kind of fill the void defensively. And you always have AD. Like AD, wasn't he the top shot blocker along with Rudy Gobert this year in the NBA?
That'll be up there, yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you get a guy like Gallinari, bring him back. Like that's not a bad mix.
Here's some other guys. So here's some, in addition to the list below, a few other noteworthy names: Carmelo Anthony, Mike Conley, Marcus Cousins, Andre Drummond, Evan Fournier, Marc Gasol, Joe Harris, Dwight Howard, Serge Ibaka, Paul Millsap, Marcus Morris.
Joe Harris
would be a good fit, right?
Joe Harris is a good fit. You have a consistent, solid 3-point shooter. And so now you can just go in the draft and go get somebody to run the point. And you don't really need to rush with that because LeBron can run the point if he has to.
Yep.
But you need some guys to play in the back court. The front court, solid. Like, imagine you pull off Joe Harris and Gallinari. You put that with LeBron, AD re-signing.
You're basically doing a souped-up version of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Basically.
Yeah.
With probably the second best player ever to play the game. Because here's the thing, right? Even with this, I still put Jordan above LeBron. There's just something about when we got the benefit of watching both guys from start to finish. And they both affected the game. Because they both affected the game in great ways. What Jordan did for the game, not just his accomplishments, the things he did for the game, and everything around the game, and everything that all the players are enjoying now. Like it's.
You mean like selling shoes to Republicans and Democrats?
Yeah, exactly. This shoe deals that these guys are signing now don't exist without Jordan.
No, for sure not. And I don't think that it's hard to compare. It's hard to compare eras. It's hard.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
But there's no doubt in my mind. I think that LeBron is probably the most physically gifted, talented player that's been in the league.
He's a combination of Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan.
He is. He's definitely. I mean, he's like a more advanced version of Magic Johnson with, at this point in his career too, a better jump shot.
Absolutely, he's a much more athletic Magic Johnson, but even more than that, he has in his younger days the explosiveness and all these other things.
Oh yeah,
that guy's a physical freak. There's no doubt about that. It's spectacular in that way.
His basketball smarts are just on another level.
His IQ is unbelievable.
Yeah,
his IQ is unbelievable. And, when he was younger and people were giving him a hard time for not taking the final shot in the game, he was just playing basketball.
Yeah, he's always making the right play. Like that, you would want to play with that
basketball decision. Yes, I love playing with those.
Those are the guys
Yeah,
Makes the game easy. He's gonna
like
get you the shot.
on a smaller scale, wouldn't you say that a lot of times when you played at the levels you played at, I mean, in the end, you try to make the best basketball play you could.
I did on
Right?
the bench. I
One
cheered
of those
very hard.
things. I mean, you could visualize the best basketball play in the world, while you're sitting there on the bench.
I
But
would cheer very hard, man.
I actually found like no matter what form of basketball you ever played, playing good basketball, quote unquote good basketball, which involves strategy and some fundamentals, was always the most enjoyable part of the game. Like I would say, anytime you play, you whether it be pickup, intramurals, some school ball stuff. Like for me, like dropping an assist was probably much more rewarding to me than making a basket.
Yeah, I'll take you. I'll take you back to the most fun game I think that we played together was that intramural game that we played against. I think it was like the law school.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 4-on-5, I think. And
Yep.
there was that one dude. He was pretty good. Like, and they're hanging
Yep.
with us for like a long part of the
Right.
game.
Right.
And then we made the decision to spread the court out. And we started
Yep.
pulling away. They wanted to fight, and the game ended, and we won.
And we won. Game was over. We kind of we stopped Josh from always just driving into the mess of four people.
Was,
Remember
yeah,
that? Remember,
I think we were playing four corners, dude.
right?
Right?
I mean,
Didn't we
remember,
split it in four
remember,
corners?
yeah. Remember Dragonis? Like every time he got the ball on the baseline, he was just going straight for the basket. I'm like, hey, dude, all we got to do is play four corners here, man, because you're running into the nest right now because they're just packing it in. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like,
Okay.
what are you doing?
That was the most fun game I remember. Just because strategy.
It was. I
And
mean,
then,
we were numbnuts for a little while.
yeah, and then they got mad, and then the game ended.
You mad, bro? That was one of those Richard Sherman to Tom Brady, you mad, bro moments.
I will always remember that.
Nah, I mean, I miss playing stuff. Like golf. Golf doesn't do it for me. Like in that sense, for that part of it. It's a different type of competitiveness,
Yeah.
and really golf. I don't even care about my score when I golf. It's more about whether or not I can kind of do what I want to do with my swing that I get the most enjoyment from. Like I don't really care about anything else. Like,
You like to see your shots.
yeah, I just want to make a shot. Like if I can make a shot, that's awesome. Like whatever, that's cool. I'm hanging out. I tell my most times that I'm hanging out outdoors for 4 hours, man. Usually with some friends, couple beers. It's fun
Yeah,
that way. But I've gotten to the point where sometimes I feel like I should go find a court where a whole bunch of old men are playing and just play old man ball with them, just because it looks fun. Like I went to Wilhelmina Park last week, and there was like 6 guys playing, and I would say, 6 out of 6 over the age of 50. I was like, that's my group right there. I'm gonna play with those guys.
Really?
Yeah, they were just fun. They were just playing, and I was like, that looks fun. I would play.
Yeah. I was playing with when I was in Vegas. I would play with like a bunch of young kids. Actually, some of them were like football guys.
Yeah.
I got elbowed in the face, dude. Oh my god,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
They tried to do the James Harden. The Euro
Oh
step.
no.
Boom!
The Euro step with the elbows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
dude.
But you know what? This is what younger people do, right? They watch what happens in the NBA and they emulate it.
Yeah.
And they try to do the same thing. I mean, we did the same things. We all did stuff that we saw on TV, so we thought we'd try it. But at some point in time, like I think the fun of playing with older guys and girls is that you play basketball. It's not just ISO.
Yeah.
Like I play pickup with younger guys, and it's just ISO crap. It's like this is boring. Hey, can we just play basketball?
Is that what we used to do? I don't remember.
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you call it, unless you mean ISO is we're trying to find an opening on the 3-point line to catch it and shoot it, because we're of the smaller people on the court. It's like, yeah, we're ahead of our time. We've talked about this before. We're ahead of our time.
I was just gonna back up. Just back up.
Oh, you want to come up with me? I'll back up 1 foot and pop this thing over you. It's all right. I may not make it, but at least got the shot off. But yeah, I mean, that's the fun stuff. So I guess that kind of brings us to kind of the last thing on the show is kind of how's life, man? Like how's COVID life for you in California? How's everything?
It's interesting. I mean, definitely been there's not been a lot to do since March. For the most part, things have been closed. Although we're starting to open up right now. There are restaurants where you can go and dine in. Mostly are outdoors though. In Vegas, that's actually a little bit different. So Vegas is actually starting to open up quite a lot more than it is here.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
Vegas Vegas is a lot more aggressive with everything. You
yeah,
know, they took that stance quite a while ago.
yeah. The mayor there was
She's
offering stuff as a
she's in it. How about
cheat.
uh, well, she's interesting. How about that? We'll leave it at that.
Is
She's
interesting.
she's
Yeah.
a character. She's a character. She's an interesting one. I'm not gonna go there and call her other names. It's just I've seen enough interviews with her, and I'm like, are you all there? Like, it's
I
it's.
actually, I actually didn't know who the mayor was when I was living out there. I only knew the governor. But yeah, that was interesting. It was eye opening.
Yeah, yeah, yes, it was. Watching them from here, and then like I said, I have family that works in Vegas, and when they first opened back up, I know some of them were concerned, and it's not the same for sure.
So yeah, so on the strip, obviously there's been a lot of problems, but you can stay there pretty much Monday through Thursday, I think. You get it comped for free. The weekends were when I was staying there like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. It was like $40. You can stay at the
Oh my!
Bellagio for $40. In fact, I saw.
Is that where you stayed? You stayed there? I thought you were at Red Rock.
No, I stayed at Red Rock. I stayed off the strip. So like the Red
Yeah,
Rock prices there were closer to normal, around like maybe 80 to 100 something dollars a night.
but I would pay that at Red Rock. It's a nice hotel. Costco's across the street, so I can never complain about that. So
Yeah, no, it's a nice hotel, like family oriented,
Yep.
not as crazy as what's happening down in the strip, it seems
Yep.
like.
Big sports book,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So it's interesting. When I was there 4 weeks ago, I think I was playing blackjack. All the tables were 3 to 2.
Uh huh.
There were a lot of tables that were basically you could only have three people to a table.
Correct. Okay.
When I went back this last time, I think there were some 6 to 5s, and also there were plexiglass dividers. So you could actually have there were a lot more. Or you could have five people sitting at a table, just that you'd have
Right. In,
plexiglass.
in your own phone booth, basically.
Yeah, it's actually harder to hear when you're trying to talk to people next to you.
Which I guess helps them. Well, you can't touch the cards. Everything's face up, right? Or they're letting you touch the cards.
You touch the cards.
Okay.
When it comes to cutting the cards, though, you can't touch them.
Right.
So like you tell the dealer where to cut it, and
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is what's going to be for a little while, until we get enough rapid tests deployed everywhere. In many ways, the vaccine, it's a nice thing, but really when it comes down to it, from everything I've read and studied about it, it's like the therapeutics, the rapid testing, probably the bigger role than the vaccine, because there'll be people that are hesitant to take the vaccine, because
yeah,
they're worried about safety because this has been developed so fast. We're doing 60-day trials in these phase 3s, phase 4s, and those kind of things, and some people are going to believe like that's not long enough to know what the side effects are.
yeah.
So I think there'll be a lot of people hesitant too, but from what it seems, people are recovering at a higher rate than before, and it sounds like in the hospitals they're learning how to take care of people that get in there a little bit better than they have.
Yeah.
So we'll see what living with COVID is like over time.
Yeah, I mean that's what happened in 1918, right? They never had a cure for
Correct.
flu either.
No,
You just
you just learn how to deal with, learn
yeah,
to treat it, and then everybody starts attaining little bits and pieces of it. Herd immunity is a long time away. The amount of herd immunity we have for the flu is enough to keep a big part of us from dying from it, but we still get sick from it. The vaccine we have for it doesn't stop us fully from getting it. So, life with COVID, we'll see how long this lasts.
it is what it is. Yeah, I think it's
That's
gonna
what it is.
last maybe another couple months. But
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
one thing that I've been talking about with some of my friends here is that what's gonna happen after? Like after the 1918 flu, there was the Roaring Twenties, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think the same thing's going to happen here. Like people are going to want to get out. People are going to go want to go to the restaurants. People want to go to movie theaters. People are going to want to do
Yep.
things,
Yep.
and definitely gonna. I
Yep.
think it's definitely going to drive the economy for
Well,
sure.
and that's why we want our politicians to stop dicking around here with the stimulus package. We have to keep everything as healthy as possible for now to just get us through. We just need bridges. They just need to build bridges for us to get to next summer. I really believe it'll be next summer where we start to feel a little lighter about a lot of this stuff, and we need the backing. You know, me as a business person, there's so many times where I'm limiting what I can do in my practice, in my rehab practice. There's only so many patients I can see at a time. My private performance training for athletes, I can't do it all indoors, and you know we need time to kind of build this all back up.
Yeah,
And if we get assistance from the government to kind of get that going, and we make travel feel safer, which with testing now it's going to feel safer to travel, um, then we can have money from outside coming to Hawaii to support our economy. We can have the athletes come here and use the services that I and some of my friends offer that they come here to take advantage of. You know, all those kind of things that move the needle for us. But it is what it is right now. You know, I'm always been that type of person that doesn't complain about how hard it is. I just got to figure out a way. You know,
yeah,
and part of the way in this COVID times is trading stocks and options, and that's been going well. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of some real estate investing that I've learned a ton from, and been a part of looking like some transactions and things that really turned out well in the last 12 months. So really fortunate in that way.
that's
I mean,
and that's why you should look at crypto.
that's why I'm asking about it. I think if we can get an audience really to follow us, I think you can educate all of us so much on it. Because I really feel like it's ready to pop in a good way. It's ready to kind of take off a little bit. You look at what Square did, and the amount of money they put in there, and what it did to the stock when they made that announcement. You know, there's a lot of excitement around crypto that doesn't feel bubbly as it did when Bitcoin hit $22,000.
Oh yeah, oh totally. But it's just like it's another bet, right? Upside
It,
can be
it's
big.
spreading. It's spreading
Yeah.
your risk, right? It's another way to spread your risk to get some
Yep.
appreciation. You know, and when here in America, a lot of people can't grasp the concept because we don't see it. That in Asia, it is a currency they're using for goods and services.
Yep.
They're using it. This isn't just an investment tool for them. They're using it.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely other places too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
Well,
just went Asia because we're Asian, so I just figured I'd throw that in a little bit.
yeah.
We can familiarize with people that look like us.
Oh,
if if some fifth cousin of mine in China is using Bitcoin, maybe I should too.
hey, why not, man? Why not?
Oh, I know, man, and that's why I'm going to rely on you. I think in the coming weeks, as we do more shows and episodes. Of course, we're always going to talk sports. We're in the midst of it now, the meat of it. So we're always going to talk about it. It gets us excited, but that business and entrepreneur stuff, you really, are high areas of interest for us. We're both entrepreneurs. You are in cryptocurrency mining. I have a culinary business. Other investment stuff, healthcare. I think we have a lot that we can talk about. Where we can share some ideas, and you know, who knows? Who knows what comes up just talking to
Yep.
each other like this on
Yeah,
a
who
weekly
knows?
basis.
Man? But what I want to know is how do I get into your deliveries?
It's so funny. Like
Your
when the
Instagram
pandemic
posts make
happened,
your Instagram posts make me hungry.
dude, did you see the A5 Wagyu I got?
I did,
I had
dude.
for
I
the
see
last
all
one.
I see all of your posts, and I'm like, man, that looks so
I,
good.
for those in the audience that don't know what A5 Wagyu is, well, Wagyu first of all is Japan beef. Kobe beef is a type of Wagyu, and as a whole with Wagyu, it's a highly marbled piece of beef. The cow or the cattle are, I should say, are well taken care of. They're massaged every day. They're fed a rich diet up to where they're even drinking sake. So it's a very low stress life, and it creates this meat that's highly marbled, and actually a little nutritional fat. A lot of fat in meat that's marbled, not the big chunky fat, but the stuff that's inside of the muscle. There's a lot of that actually is unsaturated fat. So actually some of the healthier fat for us. And it's a little bit of a I should say, contradiction to think that there's some parts of beef that are actually healthy for us. Because as a whole, red meat, has more of a relation to things that probably aren't good for us. But so A5 is the highest grade of Wagyu that's out there in Japan, and it drives me nuts when people mispronounce it as Wagyu. Like, it drives me bananas. It's like karaoke. It drives me nuts.
Don't. You shouldn't listen.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like that stuff. I yeah. So, but so we just whenever we come home, we'll grab another piece. The one I cooked up that's on the SL2 Delectables Instagram page.
I'm recording this now, so you have to follow through.
You got to show up. Hey, on October 16th, you don't have to quarantine when you come home now. You just got to take your test.
Oh.
Yeah, take your test 3 days before arrival, and you can come home. You can do the show from Hawaii. We'll just do it at the beach somewhere.
Okay. I think that might be a plan, dude.
Either that, we'll do it on my rooftop, and we'll just cut sashimi and eat sake on my rooftop, and just do the show from the roof.
I did not know that the quarantine was ending on the 16th.
It is the 16th. Actually, the 15th. I'm sorry. I only said the 16th because my auntie's coming home on the 16th, and she's freaking out right now, trying to find an approved testing center in Colorado so she could take the test 3 days before, show up, have the result on her phone saying negative, so she doesn't have to quarantine.
Oh, so you need you need to have the results of the tests.
Yeah, so you have to do it 3 days before you leave. Would be the best time. So that gives the lab enough time to get you the result, and they'll email you the result, I believe is what it is. And then upon arrival, you show proof of your result, and they'll check you off the quarantine list as you deboard your plane. So deboarding is going to take a little longer, which it has everywhere, but it's going to take even longer now. Eventually, it sounds like we'll do a fast rapid test, antigen testing when you get off the plane, which will make deboarding even longer. But it's a good secondary measure to make sure tourists are safer, right? But everything, like we've all experienced in COVID, everything's temporary. Everything changes constantly, and it's a little bit exciting to kind of know that there's progress in this way. And of course, it makes people a little nervous here, that people from the mainland are going to come. And, of course, the concern is they're going to bring COVID with them. So we'll see. Don't be one of those people, Royce. Don't be one of those people.
I wouldn't do that.
No, but like the airlines have jumped in. A lot of airlines are offering free testing, before you come. So it allows you, to buy a ticket. So, you see it. Everybody's adjusting as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Try to bring normalcy back. And I feel like it is closer than it was before. But I really feel like it's probably going to be the beginning of next summer before a lot of people start to really feel comfortable with how everything is. I think work from home is here to stay, though. I think there's so many people that are like more efficient working from home. Get more work done.
Maybe, but I think people are going to want to go into the office. Like, people want to be around people.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that
I've talked to some that definitely don't care about that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
But because at some point, as long as we get our social interaction, right? That's the one thing. Because some people I've talked to have said, like, it's the social interaction at work that makes them more inefficient at work. That you don't got that guy stopping by your desk to talk story with you for about 15, 20 minutes, and it stops you from doing something.
Sometimes it's those random interactions that lead to something greater, right?
So that's a different point, though. But that's a different point, right?
Trade-off.
That's another side of it, right? That the collaboration is still important, And I think collaboration in person, as as efficient as Zoom or WebEx or FaceTime or Skype can be, and GoToMeeting and all that stuff, like it I think when you get a room of people getting really creative, there's a vibe that kind of gets created there, and the juices get going. Like that's some of the most stimulating kind of times for conversation and for idea creation and cultivation, right?
Yep.
So I don't know, man. Interesting times, fun stuff. So you can come home for Christmas now. Now that you know that this thing's getting lifted.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'll definitely try to. Gotta figure out where I can get the test though.
Oh, CVS and Walgreens.
Oh, they do it now?
They're gonna make it easy.
It's not the one where they stick it far up your nose, is it?
It'll be halfway up. It'll be halfway. So it'll only go up like past the initial part of your nostril. They don't have to go all the way up to your brain for these tests. So
definitely don't want that.
Yeah. So if you're a Kaiser member, Kaiser will do it for you. CVS and Walgreens for sure. Any Quest Diagnostics, they'll do it. So there's a lot of options. And like I said, some of the airlines at certain airports, they're going to offer it to you right there at the airport in a drive-through manner.
Yeah.
So there's options. Look, everybody wants to get it going, right? Airlines wants passengers, so they're going to make this easy. Hawaii needs tourists, so they're going to try to find as many partners as they can to run these tests for them. So we'll see. So if anybody listens to this and you want to live in Hawaii,
man.
Rent a house for a month and fly into Hawaii, just get tested first and support our economy for a month.
Buy some pineapples.
We're from Hawaii. We're from Hawaii instead of wherever it is that you're living that's covered in snow and you can't go anywhere.
Soon to be, for sure.
Yeah, work tourism.
So. All right, man. Anything else?
No, man. I think that's pretty good. I think everyone should know that our next episode, we're going to try to get it out in time. You can hear our opinions and our picks for Week 6 of the NFL. Hopefully, we'll try to drop that one by Friday or Saturday, depending how things go. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed all this. Anything left, Royce?
No, that's all, man. Until the next time.
Till the next time, aloha, and we will talk to you later.